ready to continue booking this hotel room is what I'm ready to do.
No, you're ready to start a stream.
I mean,
did you start the stream?
I 100% already started it. I 100% already started it.
Oh my word.
Yes, that's right. That very word. Anyway, so yeah, everybody's watching right now.
Watching you attempt to book a room. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Okay.
This is good Conlang live stream content.
I knew it. I knew I had a Marriott Rewards account, but now they're saying that like it's Bon Voy or something.
I'm gonna go ahead and pay attention to the people watching. Jonathan, Timo, Tim, Mateus, Narmo, hello, and Graham. Freddie, oh my God, we got so many people already. Hey. And I need to see. I know there's some. I swear there is a birthday I need to announce, and there is. Yes, I've got it in my head. I'm ready for when we start. Okay.
All right. Whose is it?
Jonathan, I may or may not be watching. I love it. I may or may not be talking throughout the live stream. And hi, Ragdoll. Good to see you here. Oops. I accidentally covered this up. I forget I'm on my little screen, which means like I can't see everything at once. I miss my big screen. Hey, Minnie.
You're on a little screen?
My laptop.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Because you usually do in the big thing, just like me.
I usually do. Jonathan, I did not have your birthday on my list. So I'm just going to go ahead since you're here and say, hey, happy birthday, Jonathan. And I'm adding you to my list right now. Let's see. Monday would be the 13th. Magpie, indeed.
Okay, I may have to revisit this because it had the date wrong and I put it as a later date, and now it's the price is increased by $200. So I don't know about that. So let's see, what's on YouTube nowadays?
13th. This great thing called LangTime Studio. Magpie, exactly. Taking with your imagination.
Hold on.
An anime fan, I love your Jassafras and Conlang Kid.
Double live chat. Double live chat. Yeah, hey. Oh, my birthday's coming Monday. Excellent.
I know, right? So it's Jonathan's birthday, and that wasn't even the birthday I had on my list. So now our list has grown. And yeah, happy birthday. And
wow.
Because I assume we're going to get started here pretty soon with the polls. What?
I'm trying to pronounce this word in Miles's thing. Go-ni-ni-ni. Is that how it goes?
That's a good question. Like, I would assume those are long vowels, right, Miles? I hope. Otherwise, I'm saying it wrong in my head, and that's just never a good thing.
With the high-low tone?
Oh, with the glottal stop?
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be really hard to pronounce, but then it like feels very comfortable. Go-ni-ni-ni. Sounds like a song. Go-ni-ni-ni. I like it. Okay.
We've lost David now.
Yeah. So I want to show everybody my brand new water bottle.
What? What is that? That is not. Oh wait, let me see. Oh, the top is different. I couldn't see the bottom. I was like,
yeah,
wait, that is not the one that I knew.
No, this is the sass that Jesse Frask made. But I got a little top for it. Basically this is what I would have looked like in the 1980s. The shirt would have been this color and the shorts would have been this color.
I think it's kind of perfect. I guess like when you had told me you ordered a top for it, I just assumed it was like black or something. Like I didn't realize it was so brightly colored, but
they
now
gave me options.
Like, I can't see it any other way. It must be.
Yeah, they gave me options.
Ooh, Miles says it's Arapaho for how are things.
Oh, so that's no. Gone. Okay. Gonine. Okay. Gonine. But then I don't see any tone marking there or anything or stress, so I'm guessing that it's just the accent marks are to let you know it's E, not I. I see. Ah, Donkey, you're very late. You are very late. You are 5 minutes late, and I'm sorry, you know that class policy is that the door is closed and locked at 2 p.m. Pacific.
Donkey, don't listen to
So
David.
I am so sorry. We will try again another time, but no, this is going to go on your permanent record.
And hello, Raphael. Okay, so, it's good, Jackson. So before, because we're going to do poll here in a few minutes, you've got the relevant place pulled up in the document. I can see that. But I do want to say I don't see Jake here yet. And so, but I'm still going to say it just in case, Jake, you're watching later. Happy birthday, Jake, because your birthday's coming up. Jonathan's is right after, so we got Jake and Jonathan both have birthdays this week. And so happy birthday to our viewers, and that is very exciting.
Yeah.
And so, yes. I know it's going to be Jake Day, so I don't think Jake is here, but that's okay. Whenever you watch, got it here. Happy birthday. Now, are we ready for the poll? Because we had the most votes that we've had in a while on a poll.
All right. Yeah, I'm ready for this, and let me tell you, I'm ready to be disappointed.
I'm curious to know what you wanted to win.
I didn't have a preference until I started seeing the votes come in.
You always have a preference. It's like, do you think you don't? Okay, actually, because do you want to pull up what you actually put on Patreon in terms of the descriptions for the lightweight versus Finno-Ugric style? Finno-Ugric? It's spelled that, isn't it Ugric though?
No, Finno-Ugric. Seriously?
Wow, I have metaphysized that for so many years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Here, so this is this is Finno-Ugric. You might have been thinking of Finno-Ugric, which is a conlang family, where everybody is named Finn, and all the words sound like erg.
That must be it. But how do they say each other's names if all their words are erg and Finn is, Anyway.
Finn is just how you say it in English. So there's Finn Finson, and he's pronounced erg.
I have been metaphysizing that for years. Wow. I apologize.
You've been pronouncing it early, Jesse.
You know what? Can you pull up the Patreon post, please, to show the difference between the lightweight Finno-Ugric and combined style?
Let's see here.
Nice word.
Hang on.
As compared to the Jakio-Ugric language, yes.
Okay, so, how did this not get bolded? How did nobody call me out on this?
I mean, I was going to, but then I was like, maybe he was so late on the post anyway, maybe things were going on, and
You could have also just fixed it.
Yeah, I could have, but I'm not that nice. I fixed it last week, and then, anyway.
That's fine, work colleague.
So the first option that we're going to discuss is the one that lost the most.
Yeah.
And that was the lightweight option.
Yeah, so this one was just like, we were going to figure out the smallest number of things that we could possibly have to make it work.
Do you see Minnie's comment?
Yeah, I do.
You meant to not make it bold because it's lightweight.
So there would have been a minimal number of local cases, and then just something to determine possession. But there would have been marked and unmarked cases used for Asians, patients, and recipients. Right. And animacy would help us like shuffle things around. This is, if you've looked at, there's a short summary paper. What do you call a summary when it's a bunch of different languages? Survey. There's a short survey of direct and indirect marking strategies by Matt Dreyer, who's really good at putting together these very short little papers that kind of summarize key issues. And one of the marking types for indirect objects is essentially like double object or like special marking just for the accusative, right? So it would be like unmarked nominative, marked accusative, and then another unmarked argument, and that one would be the recipient. Or it would be just like a double accusative, and like, you know, the one that's closest to the verb is the recipient, and the next one is the non-recipient. What is that? The direct object. So that was what we were talking about, and then just reducing the number of local cases there to a very small amount. Anyway, so that lost.
Yes. Big
time. All right.
Yes.
Good deal.
Only had 12 votes.
Okay.
In second place, with 19 votes, was the Finno-Ugric style.
Yes. Oh, I love our patrons. Well done.
So combined style won with 23 votes. Do you want to walk through the differences of those? Yeah.
So the Finno-Ugric style is just because you're going to be like a whole ton of cases, probably an unmarked nominative, and then, you know, an accusative, something to do with possession, and then, you know, it would probably be, you know, your whole, like, you know, illative, inessive, elative, allative, ablative, audessive, and then who knows, maybe a delative, and all that stuff. It was going to get big, and it's like that can be fun for certain types of things, but I feel like our verbs are too big for that. I was hoping for something a little lighter. And so the combined style is, I think, what we're going to go with, and it'll be good because we're going to have lightweight marking for the core cases, probably figure out something for possession that could be like, instead of having like a genitive, we'll take whatever we have and figure out a bunch of different possessive strategies. And then we'll still have some more local cases and maybe a gadget case or two, but there'll be a smaller number. So yeah, hooray.
Excellent.
We get to do cases.
We get what?
We get to do cases.
Yes. And we had some information typed up already here, and so now we get to decide what more we're doing, how many more we're doing, what they're based on, all of that good stuff. And I will say, because somebody on Twitter had asked, I can't even remember who it was, but somebody had asked like why we were running, you know, like the ETA through all these things that would, or, you know, like it essentially through things that it wouldn't necessarily do.
That was Pete Bleakley.
What's that?
That was Pete Bleakley.
There we go. Okay, so, and that was a good question, but just to like make sure people understood why we were doing this chart with like things that cases that may never occur with this noun meaning seed. It was for phonological reasons, just to show like, well, what would happen if it starts and ends with a vowel? Well, it has to end with a vowel, right? But looking at protoforms, what happens if the protoform, you know, ends with a vowel, and you then add, you know, more to it. And so it's really purely phonological, not to say that these will ever be used or show up and, you know, carry meaning for the speakers. It was purely a phonological exploration to be able to build the chart.
Got it. Okay.
Can you scroll up for a tiny bit for a second?
Okay, I just gave it a scridge.
Was that enough, Minnie? How much did you scroll it up? Oh wait, that's scrolling down, isn't it? Or is that scrolling up? I don't know which way scrolling up is, I guess.
You do natural scroll on your computer, don't you?
Yes.
Oh.
And I don't even think about it. It just happens.
If at any point I use your computer, I'm going to change it back to the old style scrolling.
No, I will be so confused. Okay, so I'm also going to get more comfortable. So excuse me while I get all movie on you. There we go.
That's right.
Okay, I'm much more comfortable. Now, and it's fine as long as what direction you scroll works for you. That is lovely. I just have it the way I almost dropped my computer. Have it the way I have it. Okay. So now I guess we need to do some stuff, right?
That's right. And first up is going to be, let's go ahead and, this might seem like a strange place to start, but let's jump ahead to syntax and figure out our marked, or our natural and unnatural cases and how they're going to be distributed. Natural squirrel. You make me feel like a natural
Did you see Graham's
squirrel.
comment that natural scrolling is a silly name too? It'd be like calling SVO natural word order. And of course, and then that ties in with our natural, unnatural cases. And honestly, that was just like, we couldn't think of a better name for it. So
they could be naked and clothed.
Oh my gosh.
Once we get to the grammatical terms inside the language, because if there's any one of these languages where they would have sophisticated vocabulary for grammar, it's the mouse language.
Yes. And so the reason for these cases is that they are essentially the nominative and accusative, or subject and object. We haven't really discussed if that's going to be how we're going to extend the accusative yet, something we'll discuss here. But the idea was that if it is an animate noun, its quote natural case is going to be nominative, so it's going to be like the subject of like, an agentive verb. If it is an inanimate noun though, its quote natural case is going to appear as an object. And so they're going to be nominative accusative flip-flop for whether you're an animate or an inanimate noun. Did I explain that right?
Yes, you did.
You just got really quiet, and I was like, wait, did I misremember what we were doing?
So Freddie, I see that, but I don't think it's going to work for our combined one because we're not going overboard on the cases. So, like, to explain the idea, there is a distinction between, for example, allative and terminative, where allative means, I went to the house, and terminative would be like I went up to and inside the house. Like, you know what I mean? Where it's like, allative is like I went to the vicinity of this thing, whereas terminative is like I absolutely went to this thing and went either inside it if it's something you can go inside, or I went on top of it if it's something that you naturally go on top of. And so that distinction exists in cases. Freddie is suggesting that we could have that distinction and then have it turn into definiteness, which is something that can absolutely happen. And I encourage somebody else doing a different language to think about it, because I think it's a really neat idea. So the idea is that in the future, what would start off as an allative terminative distinction, so it's like I went towards the house, or I went around the house up to the house, and terminative is like I went into the house. At some point in time in the future, allative would be I went to a house, and terminative would be I went to the house. It is a very neat idea. I don't think that it's going to work for this because we're going to have a minimal number of local cases. Probably, well, I mean, we'll figure it out. We might have two different locatives and then like a lotive. In other words, like, you know, combining the illative and the allative. That's what I'm thinking might happen. So we wouldn't get enough bang for that buck. Like there wouldn't be enough cases there for that actual distinction to emerge. But it's a very, very, very neat idea. So I wanted to articulate it, and hopefully I've understood it correctly. If not, Freddie, you can let us know in the comments. How was superessive decided upon? Oh, I don't know. It was just the it was the noun, right? What is the noun that it comes from?
We kept notes, right?
Well, we have ablative, instrumental, authoritative, locative, and avertive. But what was the superessive? It's the.
Which makes me think of Sithi, but like that can't be where it came from. Because that would be like barleycorn. It would be small. It would be.
No, shoot.
Oh, you know what? It comes from to sleep.
Yes. What's sleep? Where is it?
It's up in the list on page 5, and it's just T. TSIF is the protoform.
Right. Okay. Well, let's write that down.
Was that the only one we missed? We got everything else right.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. We just used dreams, a dark horse, you know, to sleep or chance to dream. We just used dream for a conditional. I thought it was a neat idea, so I want to share that.
Oh.
Different language.
Different language, yes. So at first I was like, wait, we've done conditionals in the mouse language? Where have I been? But yeah, different language.
Yeah, different super sexy language.
Yes.
God, I'm so excited about this language.
Okay.
Can't wait to tell everybody. Hey,
you said you wanted.
Logan. Sorry.
What's that?
I said, hey, Logan.
Oh, okay. Your comments in the live chat are slightly ahead of mine, and so like I didn't see Logan until a good 5 seconds after you said that, so I was very confused. I'm like, did somebody show up at your door? But yeah, Hey Logan.
That's because comments or things that come through the internet, they go from west to east. So they hit the coast first and have to go from California to Colorado. So it's just a second or two delay.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said you wanted to do some information on syntax first before we did more cases, right?
Yeah, so what I wanted to do was actually discuss this natural, unnatural, nude, clothed, marked, unmarked distinction. So let's throw down some verbs. Okay. Sleep. What's something that inanimate objects do?
That inanimate objects do?
Yeah, I guess lie.
I mean, I guess if that's the verb you want to use, yeah.
Well, I mean, it could be anything. This is an open question here.
Well, are we going to think something small or big? Like, is it going to be like a big object or a small object that's inanimate? Because seeds could like blow in the wind, right? They could like float.
That is really fall is better.
We've got a sit, fall, rot, roll.
Roll. I thought of that too, but this will do for our intransitives. So those are a couple of intransitive verbs. Let's do a
That's a good one too.
A transitive verb. Let's do touch in the pertingent sense. In fact, let's
pertingent.
let's change that to a but. That's clearer.
Okay, so just in the sense that they happen to touch, not you reach out and touch something.
Correct.
Okay.
All right, and then let's do.
Juniper has a good point. Roll, because roll is almost exclusively inanimate. I mean, animate things can roll too, but like you think roly-polies. Wonder if mice ever get in a ball and roll.
I mean, obviously you're not familiar with Paul McCartney's post-Beatle work. My love is like a wheel. Let me roll it to you.
But it is an inanimate object that is rolling, is it not?
I suppose so. There's a title of a song. Love is inanimate.
Oh.
All right.
Wow. There we go. Thank you, Cupcake Braid. I was like, I know there's an animal that rolls. Hedgehog is what I was thinking of. And like, I kind of want to pet hedgehog because they're so adorable, but like, I don't think that they're really pets you can have. Anyway, at least not here.
I'm actually changing that to an intentional loop. Okay. Now, can you think of a ditransitive verb that would have some sort of an inanimate wheel spiders also roll. Ooh, Bibleridian. But like inanimate ditransitive, like where the perpetrator of this ditransitive verb is inanimate. Also, have you ever seen Waiting for Guffman?
I don't even know what you're saying to me right now.
Okay, it's a movie, and now so Minnie, I'm gonna ask you too. Have you seen Waiting for Guffman? It's the guy that did A Mighty Wind, and others in that vein. Best in Show.
So I don't think wait, have I seen Best in Show? I don't remember. Should sleep and fall be reversed? Was sleep supposed to be the animate and fall the inanimate?
That it was.
Okay. Okay, so.
But Waiting for Guffman, there's this one part. Christopher Guest, that's it. So Waiting for Guffman has this. It's just like, it was the most memorable part of the movie and the funniest part of the movie. It's the guy's being interviewed, the fake director's being interviewed. It's like, it's just one of those questions that you don't ask. Like, how many babies can you fit in a tire? Anyway, Minnie's comment reminded me of that. All right, so inanimate.
Like everything I can think of requires an animate. And so I am looking up
ditransitive verbs.
Yeah, I'm looking at for walls to get examples of ditransitive verbs in other languages that I wouldn't necessarily think about.
Pass. These are more like the read him and bake him. That's more of like incorporation or something. Mail. Dave pass. Read.
Like everything I'm thinking of, it wouldn't be. Okay, so Freddie and Narmo say connect to, maybe like X connects Y to Z.
Oh, ooh.
Maybe.
Okay. Connect is a good.
In Dark Horse, I don't think we want to use an animate verb and then just make it negative, because first of all, that like creates then the problem of what are we going to do with negation. But also, it's really to try to get some natural, some examples that could be used, because otherwise anything could just be like make it negative. The question is, are there ditransitive verbs where these inanimate nouns are going to appear in the subject, whatever their subject case looks like. Minnie says Maybe hit with the sense that it means to fall on top of. But I think that would only be transitive, right? Like that wouldn't be ditransitive because like the apple hit the ground. Like I can't shove another object in there.
Yeah, let's try connect. Well, actually, maybe let's worry about that less. But, all right, so. Oh boy. Yeah. Okay. So.
Juniper says maybe knocked it into instead. Like the apple knocked the berry into the tree.
I like that. That's better.
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah, maybe is right, because it could be ditransitive but not actually take an indirect object. It would take a local thingy.
Right. But yeah, and for Cupcake Parade, your example to put, that is a great suggestion, but I don't know that I could think of like an example where, say, the apple puts something, because that really requires to me an agentive subject that's animate.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh no, I love walls. That's a source that I use all the time too. Okay, and then yeah, Freddie, I see your example too, like the I buy him a shoe. I can totally do that. That's in my dialect through and through. I mean, I can also buy me something, like I can buy me a car.
Yeah.
Do that. So, I think we got some verbs to work with.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, and yeah, Cupcake Parade, your bump suggestion is just like the knock. Because like the apple bumped the something into something else like that, totally.
All right.
Oh, Miles, that's great.
Now let's do mouse, animate. Let's do rabbit, animate. And let's do a possum, animate. And we can do apple. Actually, let's do something that they could pick up with their little paws. Seed, inanimate. Book, inanimate. And what's a third inanimate thing? Stick, maybe?
Stick, yeah, that's good. And we don't need words for these, right? Because not all of them have words.
No, we're just going to be doing this in English.
Okay.
I'm just going to, so the seed fell. Unmarked. It's okay, right? Because it's not surprising. The mouse fell. Is it surprising that the mouse fell? The mouse actually?
I don't know, how clumsy is the mouse?
Oh, mice aren't clumsy. They're very, very agile. They're the best at everything.
Okay, so like getting out of English brain where people can fall in intransitive senses and it makes total sense and it's like, yeah.
I have an idea.
But that's different than, because I mean, obviously,
what do you think?
in other words, that it would almost like change the meaning to the mouse threw himself to the ground.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe, I guess it depends which one is, oh boy, I didn't know you could do that. Maybe it should be, this is the one that's surprising?
Wait, surprising, like in the sense that it was on purpose, and that would be odd.
Yeah, so it's like there's the mouse fell and the mouse actually fell. Which one should mean on accident? Pull?
Okay, and do you want to, like, should we ask first before I make the poll? Like, is everyone following what the question is? Because this is, we're trying to figure out, and right now we're calling them, natural and unnatural. The asterisk is marking the, quote, unnatural. In other words, there's something surprising about it. There's something that we need to mark about it because it's something special. And so the question is, should mouse in its unmarked form with the verb fall mean that the mouse fell on accident or the mouse fell on purpose? Like, which one should be the, quote, unmarked form?
Yeah.
The dual, the things that are competing here is that if the mouse fell on purpose, the mouse is an agent, and it is more expected that animate subjects are agentive, and so like that is expected. However, given the semantics of this particular verb, you don't expect people to go falling on purpose, and so then the question becomes, is that actually unnatural at that point? That's the like big thing here, right?
Right.
Okay, so poll time. Is everyone ready for surprisative? The surprisative case. Is everyone ready for the poll?
Yes. I'm everyone. And I'm ready.
Okay, so what should mouse spell where mouse is unmarked?
Yeah. Remember,
Mean.
the poll is about the unmarked case. Because we could have done this either way. We're just looking at the unmarked.
Unmarked. And unmarked means this is sort of expected.
Yes.
Let me make sure I Let me make sure I actually type two different answers for the thing you are voting on. Okay. So, which one is unmarked? That is, which one is the, quote, natural meaning? And if you have any questions, make sure you ask before you vote, because you can't change your vote.
No, you cannot. Remember, unmarked.
Yes, if it is unmarked, so no asterisk, it's unmarked, it is in its, quote, natural state, which meaning is the natural case. As we're letting voting happen, I know you got another straw top for the hydro flask. Are they the same color?
They sure are.
Oh man, can't wait to see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought they would really pop given the colors.
All right, I'm seeing some very, very intense preferences here. Juniper, this is really going to be something that is kind of done by semantic category of verb. And so some verbs are going to pattern one way, some are going to pattern another way, and it won't necessarily always be on accident. It's going to be really by verb class, I guess we could say. All right, so we have 25 votes, 25 people watching, and honestly, if you're just now coming in and trying to vote, there's no way you could sway this because we have a very definite winner.
Yeah.
And so I'm ending the poll because this was a clear winner. Gosh, it's
All right.
taking a while to update here. So unmarked, so no asterisk, it will be the mouse fell on accident.
Got it.
Because it is unnatural for the mouse to fall on purpose.
Yeah.
And see you soon, Minnie, when you come back.
Well.
Oh, Freddie is asking where to look to find out more about how they tend to behave cross-linguistically. Most of my verb class sources that I know of are verb classes specific to English. Do you know of a better source, a good source for cross-linguistic, like how verb classes behave?
Whatever I was thinking of just vanished from my mind. Ooh, hold on. The name of today's stream just became Where is Biblaridian's Mind? Or maybe the wrong side of Biblaridian's mind. I like this.
However, the comment before that was really interesting, that Basque and Georgian potentially both allow the subject of an intransitive verb to be marked in the ergative to express a high degree of agency or volition. And so that is super interesting.
I heard the Pixies play Where is My Mind live.
And so Magpie, what this suggests is that we are not necessarily considering it agentive and patientive, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because really now what this means is that there are going to be verbs where you expect if the subject is animate, you're going to expect it to be in one case versus another. And I don't want to say it with names because natural, non-natural is not great. Do we want to go with naked and clothed? The naked case, whether it means, quote, agentive or something else, it's going to change based on verb and interpretation. And so, and George says that is a common split, but isn't sure about those specific languages, so that's cool.
There we go. And then let's see. They have to be very surprising. And then see, slept is potentially so you see what I'm saying here. So like, in order to use the unmarked case with sleep, something like sleep, something that requires something more agentive, right? Or something that requires an animate participant. It just like wouldn't work. You wouldn't be able to do it unless it had some other special meaning that could only be activated with inanimate participants. And they may not happen. It may not happen. Like,
I feel like the second one would actually be ungrammatical, and the first one, the seed asterisk slept, would actually take on a different semantic meaning, something like the seed was dormant after we planted it and you expected it to grow, but it didn't, and you would say like, oh, the seed slept.
Okay, I like that.
But that would be like a marked form, and I feel like the unmarked form would be like, that can't happen.
Okay, sleep. Hold on a sec. I'm gonna write this. Radishes. There we go.
I'm waiting for it to, there we go. Radish is nice.
Okay. Since slept, and this has some alternate meaning. Yeah, I think that's better.
Yeah. Okay, so I like that. Oh, and Juniper is asking whether like seed fell would really be like a sort of reversed order, depending on, oh gosh, I can't even remember what did we decide about headedness of this language? Like I'm now mixing together way too many things. It's a head final language for the most part.
Yeah, we're
So we
rocking
expect the
head
verb
final.
to come at the end.
Yeah.
Whew. Trying to remember what day it is can be hard. Now trying to remember what language we're on is harder. But asking if there would be a difference in word order to represent like seed fell and seed slept to be something
probably not.
different word order.
This is going to get very confusing because we're doing 3 languages at the same time and they're all head final.
They are.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at least I can remember they're all head final. There we go. Although I don't remember making that decision for one of the languages, but whatever.
Which one?
I don't remember. We'll talk later. My head is trying to catch up. It's been a week, you guys. It's been a week. And then there was another. Oh, Matei said if this is what fluid S is, as he suspects, then that's a great opportunity to understand it better. Fluid S appears in languages in multiple ways.
Yeah, I think this is a little bit different, but still fun. And you're about to see how it's different as we get to these transitive verbs. So let's start with a but. So let's see.
Cupcake Brave wants to know what the accountant did to deserve the apple's curse.
Oh. You gotta ask the apple. None of us get it. But the apple knows. Okay, book, a butted, let's do that. A butted, stick, book, a butted. Mouse, butted, book, mouse, butted, rabbit. Okay, so let's start and say what the natural thing would be. The book, a butted, the stick. I think both should be natural case. And so we would rely on word order there.
Okay.
The book.
Would the second one with mouse, would that be, quote, unnatural because it's...
The book abutted the mouse. As if it were a thing. I think that.
As if the mouse were stationary, right? Or like a statue.
Whereas the ordinary would be the book abutted the mouse. So this would be the ordinary. This would be unusual. There'd have to be some reason that you were doing this, and it would have to be clear from context. Maybe the mouse was asleep, something like that.
Wouldn't it be the other way around? A second. I am struggling to see the difference between the asterisk and unasterisk form of this sentence. Well, because to me it's taking the animacy away from the mouse to say like you really have to be like sleeping or like just not moving, or a statue like, for the book to be abutting you. Therefore it's like an unnatural.
Would you want to say then that the unmarked mouse object would be ungrammatical? Make these easier.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Let's just,
Miles and Minnie both agree It maybe not about the ungrammaticality, but about it needing to be switched.
Well, if the M's agree, I mean, what am I, a P, to do?
Not a D. But I would add the parenthetical message to something about how like that does indicate that this is really treating the mouse like there's something going on, like there's no choice about it. I mean, this is how it would. Do we need the parenthetical? Because like when would you say this sentence? Okay.
I mean, there are often things leaning against one.
Inanimate things?
Sure. You're lying on the couch and the pillow abuts you. Because as you sit down, you dislodge it slightly and it goes, yeah.
And it lands on you?
Yeah.
And you're too lazy to pick it up, so it just stays there.
Yeah.
And so it's touching in the pertingent sense, I believe is the fancy word.
Yes, it's an instance of pertinence.
Okay. I feel like it's this specific verb that's throwing me off. Because if it's like, okay, like the book touched the mouse, meaning that it's like it fell on the mouse, or that it's, like otherwise like leaning against the mouse, like that makes more sense. I think it was the whole use of abutting, where it's like, I think the only time I really use that is with like land or like objects. Like, so anyway, I think it's just like hard for my brain to get on this. Also, if I haven't mentioned it yet, it's been a heck of a week and my brain is like very slow today, so.
And then you're just gonna have to trust me because I have a lot of experience with abutment.
Moving on.
Okay. I think that this should be usual, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then this would be usual.
Yes.
All right. And
Mateus's comment. It's a buttload of abutment. Yeah, cupcake bread, like in my head, I'm having to replace it with leaned against because I just don't use this verb enough for it to make great sense. And so, like, in my head, I'm thinking it leaned against.
The problem is that lean, such as we understand it in English, it can very comfortably take an agentive subject. Like, there's two different things. There's accidentally leaning in English, and then there's intentionally leaning, and there's no distinction in the terms. But with a but, there is no intentional abutment. So, and that is why I wanted to do this, because I think we can have this.
Light, damp, fire, no. Within animacy, you're either animate or inanimate.
Yeah.
So. A peach in Star Wars.
This was surprising. So we can still have, or this is surprising, or maybe maybe intentionally. What do you think? Yeah, I think intentionally. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what we want. All right, let me delete this and this.
Okay. I can only use this with inanimate. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
But that means that the mouse a butted book and mouse a butted rabbit without being marked in my head isn't making sense, because then it's like you either do it intentionally, which then is like a whole different verb, or like it just happens and it's like there's no intentionality about it.
Right. Yes. Unintentional abutment. Certainly you've been in crowds where this has happened.
I wouldn't call it abutment.
You better ask the people that you abutted if they agree with that assessment.
If I intentionally did it, then it's touching. It's leaning. It's bumping into. It's all sorts of things, but it's not. Yes, Miles, do please, The Unintentional Abutment. That would be an amazing album. I don't even care what's on your album.
No, the album name would be
Gonna need
Unintentional Abutment. A band name would be The Unintentional Abutment.
There
Yeah.
we go. I am really struggling with this right now. It made more sense way back when we were just like, it's subject position, animate is unmarked, object position, inanimate is unmarked, and when they flip-flop, they get marked. That made sense to me. Right now, getting into the semantics of it, I feel like every verb is going to have to be defined by what...
There'll be classes. Every verb is going to have a class. It'll be like, V dot A will be for class A and things like that. It'll be so exciting.
Okay.
Here. I'm gonna help. The red means no good. And
Okay, but what about book and stick with the abutment situation?
And then
If you want one to be the subject and not just interpret it as the book and stick are abutting each other, then wouldn't the book need to be marked? To say, like, for some reason we're prioritizing the book over the stick, and the book is abutting the stick.
I don't think so.
I know, Minnie, this verb is awful. And Scott, I'm glad you think this is fun. Like right now my head is like, as soon as I think, oh no, this is what it should be, I'm like, no, that is not at all what it should be.
Let's move on to boop then. I think it'll be a lot easier. So, the book booped the stick. I'm sorry, this is the book booped the stick. And I think it's just gotta be book, stick. Yeah? Is this easier?
It is, but like, isn't that like semantically infelicitous?
Yeah, so that's why it's like the book actually found a way to boop the stick.
Okay, and so this is crazy. Sure.
It is, and so which means that this, here we go. this wouldn't work. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the object is. This just doesn't work. This just doesn't work. Okay? It's got to be marked if it's ever going to be used.
As a subject.
Yes. Okay, so then next, the mouse booped book.
And many, like, I get that, but at the same time, I would never describe a cartoon where a book and stick are touching to be like, oh, the book is abutting the stick. I would say they abut each other, but like I wouldn't prioritize one or the other. And I wouldn't really say they abut each other either, because that would be a weird verb for me to pop out with.
So the mouse booped the rabbit. You'd want to say that the rabbit, I mean, it can't be, it's not super surprised that it was booped. But if we want, we can go ahead and give it that case.
Can you say that again?
The mouse booped the rabbit. Should we give it its clothing?
For rabbit, yeah.
You think so? All right. And so then are we going to say, yeah. And we're going to say mouse booped rabbit with no marking is ungrammatical. Yes? Ungrammaticious radishes. Does that sound about right?
In my head, I'm like, because then it's consensual booping and they're booping each other. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's. I think.
Yeah.
In my understanding of it, yes.
Okay. Good. All right. All right, then we're good there.
Okay, so mini mouse booped book. Boop is a weird verb to use. If you just think about like the mouse reached out and like tapped the book or touched the book.
Yep.
The book is doing nothing. It's a thing with no whatever. It grabbed the book, whatever. The book will be unmarked. However, if it is animate, then it becomes something interesting and something different, and so it's marked.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe grabbed would make it much clearer.
Because then there's not intentionality on the behalf of the rabbit.
Yes. And then we could also do, I'm going to go ahead and throw this in here.
Yeah, Cupcake Parade, that would be different together, because then if mouse and rabbit were both unmarked, then the interpretation would be, I think, what you're saying right there, where it's the mouse and rabbit booped each other. Because if they're both unmarked, it either means it changes the interpretation entirely, and then there would be an and or something. I would think. Maybe.
I would rather, I want to put a pin in that idea. I want to write it down, but I want to put a pin in it because I feel like we're probably going to have to do reciprocality somewhere on the verb.
Okay. And yeah, Mateus, it is about expectation. And so, for instance, with a verb like boop, which means somebody's reaching out and doing something, unexpected that an animate could ever do the verb, and so it would always have to be marked if it is doing the verb, like something's going on. The expectation is that the subject of the verb will be animate, which is why mouse is unmarked. If mouse is marked, then it means something extra. However, wouldn't, in your blue sentence, David, wouldn't book be unmarked and rabbit be marked?
Yes. That was what I intended to do. I just got excited about writing the meaning of the sentence.
Exactly, Minnie. It is about expectation, but only in the context of animacy, and also within the context of particular verb classes. And so it's like, this is going to be, I'm going to go ahead and say dangerously complex, which means we're going to have some fun untwisting my brain in some future Thursdays. This will be great.
I feel like you're going to take to this like a duck to water.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, hello, W. Watson.
Hey.
Oh, listen, also today, I have to sadly say, I forgot to pack Kopiko. I have no Kopiko. So, like, you can celebrate when it's celebration time. I cannot.
Well, what am I
I
going to
can
do?
take a drink of water when it's celebration time.
I can't do that. Has there ever been an episode where we haven't both had Kopiko? I think there has been.
Yes, because when that one week I went to Philadelphia for just the week, I forgot Kopiko and I did not have any.
And did I have one?
No, you did not have one that week.
All right then, solidarity.
But I feel like that, exactly, Jonathan, no Pico. Like, I feel like this means you need to have two.
No, I feel like there's nothing to celebrate. How could I celebrate?
I feel like you should celebrate twice as hard on behalf of me, and so I would really appreciate it if you had two Kopiko when it came time. Furthermore, I'd appreciate it if you had one coffee and one cappuccino at the same time to see what happens in your mouth.
Oh wow.
That's my wish.
Well, I could do that. I could do that indeed, but just for future reference, if the scenarios were reversed here, no, I'd want you to suffer with me. I want to know that you were suffering while I was suffering, not that you were having a good time.
It's totally okay though. Ragdoll is passing me a Jin through the screen, so like totally fine. I'm gonna have my teleported Jin.
Actually, that's true, Magpie. I forgot. Yeah,
yes.
You didn't have Kopiko right away. What was Ginger? Is it just straight ginger? How does that work? I want to find out more.
I think it's candied ginger. Also, Matisse is asking for the difference with fluid S. Is it about the expectation of agency and not animacy?
Yes, fluid S is about agency, not animacy.
And Scott said the same thing, so yes, excellent. Yeah, someone really should have been the teleporter because that would be way easier. And now I see why David's laughing. Again on the 5 second delay.
Yeah.
Yes. That's great. Okay.
All right. Well, before doing anything like that, anything nuts like that, let's move on to the big ticket. The main event, which is the what do you call it? Ditransitives. So, knock. I think that one's not going to be too bad. Okay. I think we can do that. All right.
Okay, Juniper is asking if the subject and object match in both animacy and marking, and there's no reciprocity, how do you tell which is the subject?
Word order.
Yeah, word order. Also, I think, because like mouse booped the rabbit, if they're both marked, and you would need to, have word order at that point to say that the mouse is actually the one doing the booping.
And but in addition to word order, though, honestly, most of the time the point will be moot because most of the time something's going to get incorporated into the verb, and there's only going to be one argument out there anyway, so worry not. And the role of the incorporated noun is going to be quite clear. Okay, book,
All right.
knocked, stick into, what was our other one?
Oh, I tried to scroll on your screen. Seed.
Seed. Book, knocked, stick, seed is how this should actually work. I don't know. Well, we might not be able to do this one. Do you really feel like this should be a ditransitive in the sense that, you know, I gave him a book?
I feel like it's not going to be a dual object. It's going to be one object and then an oblique case.
Yeah. All right. Let's forget it. Let's just do give. Let's just do give. That's something that we know very, very well. Book, give, stick, seed. Okay. So I think that this has to be the way it's going to be. Yep. Book, give, stick, seed. Right. Surprising that the book is giving something, not surprising that the stick is being given, surprising that the seed is receiving something. Yeah?
Yeah, my English brain is getting in the way, and so like my original interpretation had it backwards. Like the book gave the stick the seed, where the seed is being given to the stick.
No. Oh.
I'm just saying my English brain puts the indirect in front of the direct object.
Interesting. Wow, that's weird.
Why is that weird? That's how English works.
Do you want me to try to switch to our word order for this to make it a little bit clearer?
What I would do is actually say like book, give, seed, and then, book, give, stick, and then put to the in parentheses, or to in parentheses, seed.
Here.
Oh no, that's not going to help.
Because here's the thing, when we do our ordering, I think this is how it's going to have to be. The indirect object generally is closer to the verb, right?
I think it usually works out that way.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. So let's just do it like that. All right.
All right, so Minnie is asking, could you say with a fair amount of certainty that in a transitive clause where both arguments are animate, the patient is always marked?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. I think so.
Okay.
Everything marked?
I'm thinking of potential verbs where that could be problematic and where it would be like, but I mean, Minnie did just say a fair amount of certainty, but I would imagine there's a small class of verbs where the expected object is actually animate. And if the object were inanimate, that would be the surprising thing.
Yeah, let's change this to a possum.
For example, hug. Like
Yeah.
if the mouse hugged the rabbit, hugging the expectation is you're hugging something animate, right?
Yeah.
And so would that then be unmarked because that's the expectation of the verb hug, is that there is an animate object?
I don't think that we need to go that far.
Versus, well, didn't we go that far in the top? Versus
we
like with
changed
the whole abutment situation? I mean, versus like I hugged a tree or the mouse hugged a tree, it's like, well, that's unexpected.
Huh.
The tree is the unexpected argument there.
Well,
Scott agrees, yeah.
I was going to say no because what we haven't done is we haven't touched on experiencer verbs yet. Things
no.
like love, see, hear, those kind
Ouch.
of things. Yeah. So we might need to reserve that for.
Freddie, he just changed the word order because I was getting caught up on which one was the direct and which one was the indirect object and trying to make sure. And so he actually changed it to the word order that will most likely appear in this language.
Yeah.
And the others, my brain was not having a hard time with that. With this one, it was just struggling. And like originally when we first came up with these two cases, it was all going to be syntactic and not semantic. It has taken a shift to the semantic.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scott, that's another good one. Kill would take an animate unmarked object because maybe.
Or-
Sorry, kill would have an expectation of having an animate object because you don't tend to kill the stick.
But that's the thing. We talked about this and perhaps only having one verb that meant to destroy or eradicate. And the unmarked object would be inanimate. And it would mean you just mean destroy the house. And then the surprising object would be an animate one and the interpretation would be kill.
Okay, so we would actually end up having different verbs. Now, what we're going to do with a verb like hug, for instance, we'll have to come back to that, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it could be squeeze. So what I'm saying is we're going to reduce the number of verbs that we have and have verbs that have different interpretations depending on their objects.
Okay, and whether they're marked or not.
Yeah.
Holy crap, whoever said up there that this is like a language made for dad jokes, you're absolutely right. Man.
There's going to be neither nominative accusative nor ergative absolutive, so don't worry about that. It's going to be none of that. Alright.
There is only going to be me having philosophical breakdowns for many weeks to come. But it's fine. And Scott, I don't think we need more than one way. We could definitely add modifiers or some other modification if we need to be more explicit about what the verb actually means. And I tell you what, Juniper, the other day in the middle of one of my classes, my student's computer took over the class and I couldn't even do anything about it, even though I was the host and the person running the meeting. And so, yeah, I agree with you. The computer's kind of our animate sometimes.
Yeah. And Scott, no, definitely not. Definitely not. The whole point of this, really, the whole point of having a language that's super synthetic like this, right, is that you don't need a big number of verbs. You don't want synonyms. You want as few verbs as possible, because then all the stuff that you do to it along the way is going to give you the meaning that you get from having a whole bunch of different verbs in a language like English. So the complexity that you get by investing the verb with all of these different modifications is that you don't have to memorize a bunch of different words. You don't have to memorize destroy, decimate, eradicate, kill, break, murder. You don't have to memorize all those. There's just one verb you have to learn, and you just have all this complexity behind it that gives you the fine shades of meaning that you get with the many words that you have in a language like English. That's the point. All right. Anyway.
And Davide was the one who said the dad jokes thing. You were right on, spot on. And right now, it looks like the word order will likely be S0102V, where O2 represents the indirect object. Right
Yes.
now, that does seem the way you're going.
Right.
And Graham, you're absolutely right. So instead of memorizing lots of verbs, you have to really just know the idiomatic meanings of how these come together.
Yep. All right. So then next, now we're going to do And then if it's, and then just double all these, right? And rabbits. Unmarked. Okay.
This is going to get interesting real fast.
Yeah. So
we're also going to need like, this section is going to have like 12 permutations.
Yeah, so this is all the normal stuff, right? And so now the question is, how much other stuff do we want to allow? So, for example, something that we might consider is mouse, just say stick here. Do we want to mess with the direct object? I think we do, but only in one sense.
How so?
I'll tell you in a minute. But this is what I want to do now. Like whatever. So here it's just surprise.
And then you would need to do the same thing with mouse with an asterisk and say the mouse in italics gave stick, etc. to the rabbit.
That's right. So we can do that. Could you do this with any of them? Why is this only working just for this ditransitive one? Where you just flip it for all of them and it would be just a surprise if they did it.
You mean like on the ones up above?
Well, for this one, because it seems like you do that with the inanimate direct object as well. So, because like it could be surprising that they gave,
That they gave a stick.
Yeah, their favorite stick.
Right.
Yes, light damp here. That is correct.
So should we have just written that? Okay. But yeah, I mean, that stands to reason, right? That stick could also be...
Okay.
Or are we going too far to say this is surprise and we need to have it actually mean something different? Because if it's just going to mark surprise, then it goes back to being a syntactic thing almost, and then it just being like, oh, if you mark it when it's doing a different thing, then it's just surprise.
Yeah.
Whereas, for example, where's the... For instance, the example sentence where it's like the mouse gave the possum to the rabbit. Like, I feel like that sense is grammatical, but would actually mean something different. Because you don't normally go around giving animate beings to somebody else. So it's like, I feel like that could take a different meaning entirely if you use it, and it's just impossible to say you give an animate being to something else without this other meaning.
Okay.
Anyway, that's where my head is going, especially if we're going to be using this marked versus unmarked to actually create semantic differences on the verb meaning itself. And Scott, oh, hey Kay. Scott is asking, isn't this just turning into unmarked and narrative cases? Oh, Mateus, I'm sorry to hear this stream crashed for you. I hope it didn't crash for anyone else.
I've never heard of narrative being a case. I've heard of that being a verb form.
I think also, because I'm looking it up, because I always get all those words confused anyway. And it is likened to evidentials, and so that does seem to be a verb. Because essentially, for anyone who, like me, is like narrative, what is that again? It essentially encodes speaker's surprise, but it seems to generally be marked like evidentials on the verb. Oh, and Minnie, you have a good point. Like, possums aren't given often, but also rabbits don't typically receive animates either, and so it's surprising in both ways.
If we want, I can take this back, summarize 2 ways of doing this, and then make that the poll, patron poll.
We could. I would want to hammer out the 2 ways, because I think for some of the initial views or ideas that we have for the language, I don't necessarily want to let them go. And that was, for example, like you had said with the verb to destroy, when it takes an animate object, it's marked, but it also has to take the meaning to kill.
Yeah.
Like, I really like that. The question is, like, how far does that extend? How are we going to have to do, like, certain verb classes? And at what point do we say, but it's almost like a syntactic requirement where it's got to be this way if you're in this verb class, and if it's any other way, there's going to be a meaning shift if it is grammatical. And if it's not grammatical, then you just can't do it. Like, you can't have an animate object or an inanimate object or whatever. Like, it's just like built into the verb.
Okay. Animate. Okay. Intransitive, we're going to call this split S. Transitive. Animate, marked as patient, not marked as agent. Inanimate, marked as agent, not marked as patient. Ditransitive, like transitive, but animate, not marked for recipient, marked for recipient, and marked for recipient, not marked for what?
Something happened there. Animate,
Yeah.
not marked for recipient, marked for recipient.
Sorry, I just animate not marked for recipient.
And Minnie, I agree with you that I think this is why we need to hammer this out now, because otherwise it's like every verb is going to potentially be crazy.
Yeah, that was part of the point. Okay, so this is option 1, and we're going to call this one the what was it? The lockstep option. All right.
Lockstep.
Yeah.
I was going to say like straight up syntactic, but
Option.
I guess part of it, intransitive isn't straight up, so, you know.
Option 2 will be the free love option. All right. So the default will be this, and then opposite marking can be used for surprise on the following. By the way, my texts are absolutely blowing up with the craziest things from all different people, and it's just too much. Okay.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited to see this YouTube video that's just been sent.
Yeah.
But I'm forcing myself to wait because that doesn't seem like good hosting etiquette to go watch a video.
Yeah. Doesn't seem like I don't know. Nah. Forget it. All right. So. Marking to indicate intentionality.
Actually, because isn't it already sort of marked for intentionality?
No. For animates, opposite marking, this is why.
Oh, okay. So like if the verb is to fall, the expected form is going to be marked. However, if it's something like slept, you would expect it to be unmarked. And so if you flip that for the verb itself,
Yeah.
it's going to have some sort of like surprise or intentionality aspect.
Okay. Animates left unmarked to indicate accidentality? That can't possibly be a word. Yeah, I just don't have.
You don't have the thing on the red.
Yeah. Accidentalness? Is that the word? Accidents?
Accidentalness sounds right.
Not accidents?
Graham is saying maybe accidentality. Accidentalness? No. Accident. I don't know.
They're all there.
How about by accident? Unintentionality? Ooh, I got a cramp in my foot. That is unfortunate.
Oh, how'd that happen?
Why? Minnie is right. Accidents is a word, yeah.
So marking.
And that would be the word that we probably want.
Okay. Marking used to express surprise that noun is performing that role. And then for non-operant marking, yeah. And then same thing for ditransitive.
And actually, yeah, you're right, many accidents is a word, but doesn't quite mean what we intended, so that's why there are 4 different words to follow it.
Yeah. And then the question is,
what about option 3, where opposite marking actually changes the meaning of the verb, where it's like you really need the marking to be followed, and anything where it's opposite marked is actually going to be a different meaning.
so hold on a sec. Let me throw this curveball at you. And then what do you think?
Wouldn't the mouse be marked instead of the rabbit unmarked?
No.
Because I would think mouse hit rabbit, where rabbit's unmarked would mean the mouse hit the rabbit, like surprise, because it's some sort of surprise. Whereas mouse marked as a subject is like, oh my God. Just when I thought I knew what we were doing,
Well then,
okay.
this could be a little bit too confusing. So let's just leave this as option 2. And there's no intentional unmarking in transitives. There's only intentional marking.
Okay, so we can't unmark.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now, did you want an option 3 where it changes the meaning of the verb?
No, we're going to do that either way.
Where?
It's going to be in the verb.
In the verb definition itself.
Yeah, yeah.
Where it's like, if it takes an animate, here's the meaning. Okay.
Yeah.
Whew. I know the Apple sentence has to stay just because it's like, it's the only thing bringing me a bit of sanity right now.
Added to it.
Obviously not. Oh, Juniper says she wants an option 3 where weird marking only happens on intransitives.
I mean, option.
I think it would go to, if though a language had that on intransitive verbs, I really feel like it would be extended quite easily where doing additional marking can indicate some degree of surprise or something going on, because it's like if you can do that with intransitives and shift marking.
Well,
It seems like that could be something that could be extended.
it does, but it can be extended in two ways. Either just zero extends to transitive verbs, or you just have machinery in the verb that allows you to get more intransitive verbs, passives, applicatives, and so on.
The way it's sort of summarized here, there are several of us struggling. Several. I kind of just want to make a whole PowerPoint. Like, that's where my brain is. I'm in teaching mode. Make a whole PowerPoint, do a little video. Cupcake Project is asking, are there any real-world languages that do this?
Cupcake Project. So first of all, Cupcake Parade, it's like, yes.
Parade Project.
The verbs should be in that order, or the sentences should be in that order. I was just doing them in English order because I thought it would be helpful, but it turned out not to be helpful when we got to the ditransitive, so I put them in real order. But are there any real-world languages that do this? Don't know, don't care. We're doing this.
Okay.
Oh, nah, I don't like that. Sorry, Jennifer Berry. No, we're gonna have it so that both can be marked.
Can I add some examples here? As I just go ahead and take
where? I'll scroll to it.
Right now I'm in option 1.
Okay.
Okay. So.
I have a feeling this is going to take a long time.
It could. It's not marked for agency. Let's do something like jumped, because that's better than sleep, because then it could be like, was it on purpose or not? Sometimes I fall asleep quite by accident. Okay. Whereas, what were we using? Book or stick? Book fell, but book jumped. Okay, so this is, am I on a good path here? This is the expectation.
Yeah.
Okay, because this is really like on the verb at this point. This is, what does the verb need? This is what's going on.
Yes.
Okay, so now, boop that in, or scooch it in. Mm-hmm. Now we have like mouse, and then we'll put it in the order. We're gonna hit a book, because why not? Oh my word, the dogs are going crazy upstairs. Okay, this is expected. But if the mouse is hitting rabbit, that is unexpected. There we go. Now, book will be marked. Oops, book. Oh, that's stick hit. And book. Mouse hit. Good?
Yep.
Okay. I'm expecting you, because once I have this pulled up, I can't see any comments, so you're on comment patrol for me.
Everybody is watching your progress with bated breath.
Whew, I hope not. Mouse, book, rabbit, Dave. Okay, so now to come back through. Mouse is unmarked, book is unmarked because we expect it, rabbit is unmarked because, or wait, yeah.
Yep.
This is what we need.
Yep.
Now, if it goes in any other, let's say it's mouse, possum, rabbit, Dave.
Ooh, that is a very astute observation from Riafio.
What is that?
It says, I like the second option since in a tonal language it's more difficult to express surprise or emphasis through intonation.
That is so true. So that, oh wow, we really need to consider that, because that would, again, like once you learn the paradigms that are expected, it would just be like, oh, of course. Inanimate marked for recipient. Okay, so I've got all the markings. And then at this point, it's like, something's going on here. Something's changing. Why would a book be giving a stick to a rabbit? This is odd.
Mm-hmm.
Furthermore,
Jennifer Berry points out there's still, of course, the option to mark narrativity on the verb, which absolutely.
Okay. Asterisk means something extra is going on. It's a closed version. It is marked. This is option 1. Option 1 is built into option 2 with the addition that if you change up anything that you expect, for instance, marking mouse in this particular sentence, if you mark it, that means you are surprised that the mouse gave the book to the rabbit. And so that's what option 2 built in for. That's correct. I forget who you said it, but it was like when you have tone in the language, intonation can be difficult. So here, let's just change up one example. And this is where it would be like, the mouse gave the book to the rabbit. Because it's an unexpected. You wouldn't go like changing up all the markings, because you really, when you do surprise in general, you're like really only surprised about one aspect. So it's like, it's just like, this would be like, well, why is the mouse as the subject in a different form? And it's because it's like, what the heck? The mouse did that? And that's what option 2 adds in to the flavor. Okay. Did that help people? Because that helped me.
There's 4 of these. Why are there 4? There's 3 arguments. How is there 4?
For what?
Well,
Ooh, good thing, Miles. Minnie, the transitive example with both animates is the mouse rabbit hit, where mouse is unmarked as the subject, rabbit is marked because it is the patient. Okay.
all right.
Oh, yeah, you're right. There would be a 4th one.
Yeah. So I did
Because that would mean the mouse gave the seed. Sorry, the mouse gave the possum to the seed, which is like as unnatural as could be.
It's 2/3 as surprising as the book gave the mouse to the seed.
Oh yeah, well that is hugely surprising. At least the mouse can give things. This is like the book gave something, and not only did it give something, it gave an animate being to an inanimate object. Like something's going on there. It needs to be marked. Okay.
All right. So we can do this.
Yes.
We got it.
And in general, I'm going to go ahead and bold and italicize, like this is the expected form, is, nothing is marked because this is expected. The mouse gave the book to the rabbit is sort of an expected, like if you have a ditransitive, this is how it works. And so anytime you get away from that expectation for just how it works, you're going to have to mark the argument that moves away from the expectation.
Yeah.
Whether it's a single argument or, every single argument in the sentence structure.
All right.
And so that is That's how to view this. And this is actually, now that I've typed it up this way, option 2 now actually feels very good. Because
Cool.
it's like, oh, okay, like I see that there are these sort of syntactic expectations for just boom, this is how transitive verbs work, this is how ditransitive verbs work. Anything that varies from it, especially as you start marking, like the subject that way, it adds surprise, and I do like that. Okay.
Good observation, Minnie. And now, with the last 10 minutes, want to try this? Or because
Do I want to try it? No.
because here's the thing, I feel like this falls outside of the structure because it is not surprising. Let's stick with C. It's not surprising when anything is seen.
Right. Like everything is unmarked, really.
This,
Mateus, by the way, says you can copy paste style in pages. Question. And yes, you can.
yeah, and you can put little these buttons, copy style and paste style.
Hi, Jessie.
Oh, hey, how are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm barely surviving this stream.
It's a super close-up too, so you get the.
Well, I'm hoping most people can't see the inside of this eye because I got burst blood vessels, and it's been third time now this stream. I'll say it's been a heck of a week. Okay.
All right. Well, I just wanted to say hi. See your smiling face. So smile.
Hello.
I'll get out of the stream. I brought the repair stuff.
Oh, cool. All right.
Miles says, so are intransitive verbs being marked differently if the verb is unaccusative or unargutive?
Are verbs? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. So I will say this. This actually seems like it's going to work really well. It's usual for animate arguments to experience like sight, hearing, and things like that. It's unusual for inanimate arguments to do that, so that seems very standard. But then in terms of the object, anything goes. So
I just want to say, there we go. It doesn't matter, both would be unmarked, right?
yes,
Okay.
both would be unmarked, and so what we could do is either use the unmarked standard and then the marked as surprise if option 2 wins, or we can take this out of this entire structure, leave these as intransitive verbs. So experiencer verbs are intransitive by definition, and their objects, if anything, are sources, and then we use some other case for it. What do you think?
I think that's a really interesting idea.
Okay, and then let's just write it down for our next time. Option 1 equals marked inanimate. Sorry, marked inanimate subject, unmarked animate subject, unmarked object, marked object equals surprise.
By the way, this description for intransitive needs to change, and I'm going to show you why.
Oh no.
Because this is how it's expected.
Yeah.
If you unmark fell, that's going to mean intentionally.
No, and it's left unmarked to indicate accident. The mouse fell accidentally.
But Okay.
Okay.
I'm on board now. I see what I did.
All right. Okay. So
Okay.
that option.
Yes, mini. That is the clarification. That is what is here now, is that at this point the mouse hit the rabbit. The rabbit is marked for syntactic reasons, not because it's quote unusual. It's just like what the syntax requires, and any changes in the marking is where we're getting into differences in meaning. Someone, I think it was Juniper. Okay, so like, and yeah, you're exactly right, Juniper. Like, my brain was not wrapping around the fact that, of course, mouse is marked with fall to mean unintentionally, and if you take away the marking, then it's going to be on purpose. So anytime it's unmarked, it's going to have agency. The other question you had asked about unmarking for transitive and ditransitive, we had decided that you cannot unmark arguments, you can only mark them.
Yeah.
And so, for instance, in the sentence, I'm going to copy this to underneath here. We cannot unmark possum in mouse, possum, rabbit gave, to be like the mouse gave the possum to the rabbit.
Yes.
We cannot unmark that role. We can only mark the other roles to indicate surprise. This one is already marked. It's already, there's something going on. There's already something more happening. We cannot unmark it, but we can mark the other two roles to indicate a degree of surprise.
Yeah, and I think that makes a lot of sense because that's the whole reason the opossum got marked in the first place.
Was because there's something going on. That is surprising in the first place. Like, this
Yeah.
is an unusual construction.
Really like that. Okay.
Whew.
Cool. All right. Well, patrons are going to have a good long time to decide on this poll because we are going to be off next week. So we discussed it, and of course, I'm flying out to Missouri a week from 2 days ago, and we are packing Jessie up. We're going to move her out. And so I'm going to be there next Thursday, and it was just going to be too much of a hassle to try to stream while unpacking things while I was there. So I am going to record a special episode that I think a lot of people will find very useful. I'm going to do a long recap on everything that we've done on LangTime Studio so that you could just go to one place and say, all right, what is the deal with all of this stuff? So I'm going to give that my best shot, and that will be what goes live next Thursday.
But I want to know, like, how many PowerPoints are involved.
More than 0, I'm realizing. I know, so I'm gonna have to do that.
So yeah, live streaming from a U-Haul. Goodness gracious.
I mean, on location, guys. On location. It could be cool.
It would be, honestly, if we tried to do the stream next Thursday, it would be us sitting on a floor in an empty office. And that's only if it would survive on a laptop, which we found out OBS kills laptops, and I have the same laptop David does, therefore it would all die. And so it really is impossible.
Sounds like a coward's, attitude.
But yes, I am a coward. I am already exhausted and haven't even started the week.
Thank you. Karaoke carpool road trip. That is exactly what is going to happen.
That is what should happen.
Because we
No, it
all
will not
love
be
karaoke.
recorded. No one will see the singing I do in the U-Haul. I'm sorry.
Everybody loves karaoke.
Yay, singing!
No.
Well, sport.
Alright, but yeah, so yeah, I think we're excited for David to do this kind of recap, because I know we have like new people who are kind of coming in. Maybe you've forgotten some of the things we've done, and so we're excited for that. We're not excited that means we won't see you for a week, but we are like super stoked to get back to this once your votes come in. Super stoked in 2 weeks to get back to this language. Same time. Oh, goodness gracious. It would be put your ears in Muff's time if it were
Same
listening to
time,
me.
studio.
But thank you. We will take all the good luck you all can give us. Thank you.
All right, everybody. So we'll see you in a couple weeks, and words of wisdom.
Stay grammar.
There we go. That'll do it.
Yes.
All right. Bye, everybody.